Hello, this is Angelo, and we are here with November's Coaching Masterclass. And today's subject is how to build and, most importantly, sustain super confidence. Of course, we are tapping into one of the most important pandemics, maybe of all time. And self confidence is so rare, I believe, simply because it is kind of misunderstood. And today, this is what we're going to be doing. We will tackle with the subject, the actual subject, the meaning of self-confidence, where it can be found, how can it be upgraded at any time. And before we begin, as always, I want to thank you and congratulate you for being here. You know by now how easy it is to get distracted and derailed from your journey to your vision. Also, you want to congratulate yourself for being here because this means that you do not negotiate your vision. This means that you are here, meaning that you're here, you're looking into all the little pieces of the puzzle of success and happiness that are still missing. Now, of course, you want to turn off all your notifications and anything that can distract you for the next 30 minutes. In this world, it is just you and me. Of course, you're more than welcome to take notes, but always remember that you will be having the replay at your disposal if you want to focus entirely on what we will be discussing here. Last but not least, I want to remind you that we have crossed the point of no return, meaning that the only outcome that you allow in your consciousness is you landing happily and safely at your desired destination. How do you feel? The question that I begin each and every webinar with, and the question that you want to ask yourself many times during the day, simply because the better you feel, the better the quality of your life is, the better your present is, and the more energy you have towards achieving any goal, towards getting into any destination. Of course, remember that we have set our thermostat at happy and unstoppable, meaning that if for any reason during the day you do not feel that, you are not at that state, you practice the exercises, the 5 to thrive, right? The exercises of perspective, forgiveness, love, gratitude, and happy landing to bring yourself back up to that state. Now, self-confidence ground zero, meaning let's just see what our today's subject is about. First of all, we want to answer, is there self-confidence? Is there such a thing? Number two, if there is self-confidence, what exactly is it? Number three, is it affected genetically or epigenetically? Meaning, is it something you're born with and there's nothing you can do about it? Or it is something that you can cultivate at will later on in life? Last but not least, if it can change, so if it is affected epigenetically, then how can I build so much self-confidence that I truly feel unstoppable in any given moment, regardless of how tough the circumstances are? And this is what you should be caring about. Have so much self-confidence that you don't care about favorable circumstances. You don't wait for the weather to change, for the government to change, for the laws to change, for anything else to change. You only care about how much inner power is unleashed towards the direction, pointing towards the direction of your dreams. Now, most of you should know the game Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the TV game, right? But today, I'm going to show you a much less known game of Who Wants to Be a Self-Confidentiaire. And let me tell you, I've practiced this word, repeating this word many times before the webinar to make sure it comes out right. So who wants to be a self-confidentiaire? Meaning who wants to have so much self-confidence that in money's words, it would be a millionaire, right? So I have the $1 million question, like the pinnacle of the game, and it is this. You receive right now $1 million. How much does your self-confidence grow? So you have just received $1 million, right? How much does your self-confidence grow? Or if you want more specifically, does your self-confidence about money or your wealth or your financial freedom grows? A, 0%, B, 50%, C, 100%, and D, 200%. So you don't have to leave anything in the chat. Just in your mind, answer right now. What do you believe the right answer is? So you receive $1 million right now. How much does your self-confidence about money grow? 0%, 50%, 100%, or D, 200%? And the right answer is 0%. And we will about to see why. Because now we are tapping into the actual meaning of self-confidence. And for that reason, I want you now to start with a blank sheet and make sure that from now on, with an open mind, you tap into the meaning and the value of self-confidence. So, self-confidence 101. Self-confidence has nothing to do with anything outside myself. This is by definition self-confidence. So it has nothing to do with how much money you have or how strong you are physically and so on. Number two, self-confidence is merely the ability to focus on my inner power. And now, a bit of a warning. Just because it is my inner power, it does not mean that this power is mine. So, that said, whose power is it? And the power that I am tapping into, my inner power, is basically divinely provided. It is basically unconditionally and abundantly provided by Source, and that means that self-confidence is not basically entirely mine, but it is always unconditionally, irrevocably backed by Source, the universe, God, or whatever name you want to give to this divine power that drives everything, not just my life or your life, but everything around us. So that said, we are getting someplace, but we want to dig a little deeper and we want to make sure we know who we are truly. So, who am I? I am Evangelos Labrou, and most of you call me Angelo, of course, which is much easier. I am born in Sunderland, England. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm the author of Daily Shots of Inspiration. And of course, if I start removing all these things, I will see that I am everything that comes with I am. So if I start removing all these parts of my identity, I will see that merely I am. That's me. I am. So who am I really? I am just a point of consciousness. This is who you are also. You're just a point of consciousness that can focus either on your inner world or your outer world, and also a point of consciousness that can focus on something that is serving or non-serving. Now that you know this, when do you have self-confidence? Because from what we said by now, you can understand that you can lose all your money, you can lose your relationship, you can lose your health, and still have self-confidence simply because it has nothing to do with what you have and everything to do with where you focus on right now. So, self-confidence is merely the outcome, the effect of the cause of focusing on your inner power, which will never desert you. It will never leave you. It will always be there for you at your backing call. So you do have self-confidence, even though it shouldn't be called like this, but you do have self-confidence guaranteed by the universe, guaranteed by source, by unconditional love. This is all it takes. And this is why you can achieve anything you want. This is why your self-confidence is there always for you. Now, I promised you super confidence though. So let's see how you tap into super confidence or super self-confidence, because we always want to remember that if our confidence level has anything to do with the outer world, it means it can go away. If it is backed by our inner power, it can never go away. This is the difference maker. This is why super confidence has everything to do with you and nothing to do with your circumstances or your previous results. If you scored like 45 points in the last game and you feel amazing, great. This is an elevation of your confidence level. But it means that if you rely on that, if you lean on that, it means that if you score 2 points tomorrow, your confidence levels will go down. You want something that is always there for you. So let me give you an example. Let's just say, let's go back to our early days when we were trying to walk, like first of all, we were crawling, and then we tried to walk for the first time. And of course we fell, and everybody, like parents and relatives and whoever was around us, would be cheering us on, but at the same time, like laughing as if, we did something very silly or anything. But we had no regard to their attitude. We were completely focused on getting the job done and taking our first steps, and then walking better and better and better as we were growing up. This is super attitude. This is an indication of how much you are driven by the image of your super self in your mind, which in that case, of course, it is the version of you who is actually walking. Now, another example, we have had so many wildfires this summer in Greece and in so many other places in Europe and all around the world. And all the amazing firefighters who, like with total disregard of their own well-being, and of course working in so many times without even sleeping for days. And they worked really hard, and they had the best possible equipment at their disposal. But basically, they extinguished the wildfires for two reasons. Because of the water that was coming out of the hose, the intensity of that water, and because they knew where to point. And again, you have super self-confidence by knowing where to focus on and putting all your mighty forces, allowing basically the divine power that flows through you to be directed in that specific direction. This is all it takes. And let me give you another example. It is my example. Today is day 3604. So we have just crossed the mark of 3,600 consecutive days, consecutive daily shots of inspiration from January 1st, 2015. And it is just a short stretch until the end of the year, where we will be celebrating 10 full years. How did that happen? Because I am not pushing towards becoming someone. I am being pulled by the version of me that can be of value to you. I am pulled by my own version of Super-Angelo. And this is how feats like this happen, because most of you know that during this time, I had, coronavirus and other kinds of, like flus and viruses and so on. I tore my Achilles tendon, so I had a surgery and everything, and a very, very long recovery. This didn't affect anything. And the daily shots of inspiration were being produced every single day. And this flow became possible because I am asking for strength and wisdom every single day in order to be of value to you. This is where you tap into super confidence or super self-confidence, because you always want to remind yourself that if it is not self-inflicted, it can go away. So you always have one thing to care about: upgrading yourself, and then everything else will upgrade for you. So that said, I gave you 3 examples. That said, basically, super confidence is merely the effect of thinking as your super self. And always remember that by definition, your super self is the version of you who has already arrived at your destination. And that means that your super self does not wish, your super self does not hope, your super self knows. Your super self is already where you want to go. And this is why there is no objection in your super self's mind that it can be done, because it is done. And that is the best level of self-confidence you can have during the day. And this is why it is called super confidence. This is why you can have super confidence in any given moment. It is backed by your vision of your super self, which is not tangible yet. You cannot touch it, but it is absolutely 100% real, as we saw in the previous masterclass, mentally and emotionally. Your super self is 100% real, mentally and emotionally, and all you have to do is attune yourself so much that it also becomes real physically. Now, question. I've got a question for you. Do you want to develop super confidence for 2025 and on, and live and breathe from that state for the rest of your life? Because if so, I have an amazing proposition for you: the Sulisubu Coaching 2025. And of course, Sulisubu stands for Super Life and Super Business. And what does that mean? It means that I have my very well-known private coaching program. I have upgraded with a super word that we have introduced in the past few months. And always remember that you might have like many super aspirations, right? But always remember that your outcome will be not always like the best possible. We all have failures, but we tend to have success close to where we design our lives and businesses to be. And this is why it is important for you to have a super vision, a super design first. And then you need the 3 ingredients. Number 1, you need super clarity. And this is what we will be doing together. I will help you to develop super clarity. I will help you to develop super beliefs, because only you achieve what you believe, not what you want. And number 3, you will have super energy, because you will be feeling super happy and super peaceful during the journey, because this is all you have, basically. This is all we have, the journey. We do have some manifestations, we do have some successes, and the moment that the gold medal is crossed, is worn in your neck, is just one moment. What is going on in the rest of your life is what matters. And there is a bonus outcome from the work that we will be doing together, and that is that there will be some kind of ripple effect in your family, your co-workers, your employees, your outsourcing partners, and even your clients, basically society at large, because everybody wants to be more around people who are magnetic, who are energetic. And this is what exactly is happening when you elevate your energy. You become like a magnet for good things. You become more receptive for the knowledge, the wisdom, the strength, the resources that it takes to achieve anything you want. And When that happens, of course, you don't rely on the results to feel more confidence because you're already super confident. Now, what is the cost of this? What is the cost of working with me during all 2025? And before I answer this, I want to ask you something. What is the cost of not having the desired health, the health and the vitality and the energy levels that you want? What is the cost of not having solid, meaningful relationships with your spouse, with your children, with your co-workers, and so on, with your partners, with your employees? What is the cost of not enjoying the financial freedom you so much deserve and desire simply because you have not yet attuned yourself with the beliefs and habits of your super self? Your beliefs and habits have not yet caught up to your vision, to your dreams, to your aspirations. What is the cost of that? And what is the cost of perpetuating this in your life? Now, as Jim Rohn used to say, don't ask what is the cost of things. Ask what it is worth. So what is it worth? And again, I want to ask you, what is it worth for you to wake up with the certainty that you can turn your vision into a reality? Waking up with the conviction because your super self knows. What is it worth to upgrade your effectiveness and your relationship with time, your productivity, basically? Because this is what effectiveness is. It's not about hard work. It's not about, like burning the midnight oil, as the personal development industry of the 80s would suggest. It is about becoming more effective. It is about choosing the right effective actions, cherry picking the actions that actually make sense and make a true difference. The needle movers, as we say. And what is it worth to you to live more and more from a happy and unstoppable state, regardless of circumstances, because you're truly, authentically self-confident, or as I like to say, super confident. And you feel that even though the circumstances are not right now, the circumstances are not favorable, nothing but nothing can derail you from achieving what you want to achieve. If this is for you, then you can apply at my private coaching program at angelolabrou.com/ss25. And just to make sure there are no typing errors, I have just put the link in the chat where you can click and enroll in my program. Don't worry, no credit card needed. All you have to do is fill in the form and start the application process. By doing that alone, you are entitled to a one-time coaching call with me, where we will be working together as if it was our first call, and a few things will happen. Number one, you will know if I am the right pick for you. Then I will know if you are the right pick for me, because there is one very important question that I will be asking you to make sure that you are truly there, that you can already see yourself at your destination, that you mean what you say. And number three, regardless of what happens, you will be leaving that one free coaching call with me, having a lot of value and being able to self-coach yourself for free. So, regardless of what happens, you cannot lose, but you have to commit. This is all it takes. You have to take the next step. And don't worry, it is just a coaching call, but you don't have to, let's say, jump. It is the next step only. But of course, you know by now that big things happen when you take the leap. It's up to you, and you alone are free and responsible for the next step. Now, of course, regardless if we work together or not, you do have some homework as always. And that homework is number one, feel deep gratitude for your latent inner power, because this is the thing, let's say, the source of everything and the thing that makes everything else happen. And always remember that this latent power is patiently waiting for you to tap into it and direct it towards your supervision. And number two, be truly attentive of your attention. Upgrade your focus levels and practice the perspective of your super self. So let's say tomorrow a very demanding situation comes up, something that you never expected. Ask yourself, what would my super self do right now? What would my super self think right now? How would my super self react or respond to that situation? Even how would my super self breathe right now? How would my super self stand right now? Because when you replicate that attitude, day by day, you will be thinking and acting more and more as your super self. And then the only possible outcome would be to live the life and have the business of your super self as well. So before I leave you, one more time, I want to remind you that I have developed, it took me like 2 years to upgrade this thing to make sure that it is super powerful. And I've put all like the insights and all the upgrades that I have amassed since 2008 and on, so that I can create the most powerful coaching program yet, which I call Suli Subu, that stands for Super Life and Super Business, because it is the only outcome that I permit. And I know that by design, this is what I will be creating. And regardless if we work together or not, I want to remind you once again that you deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. And we will be seeing, of course, each other tomorrow morning with the next daily shot of inspiration. I thank you so much for your attention and participation. I hope we will work together if we are both the right fit for each other. But regardless, I want you to remember that everything you need to achieve anything you want are within, and all you have to do is to tap into that source of power. Ciao, ciao.